Hey, y'all, we're back, and so is our guest. Seems like just a few weeks ago she was with us, Kathleen Rigby. Good to see you, Kathleen.
Great to see you too, Jack.
Welcome back to River Talk.
Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon's with us too. Hey, Deacon.
Hey, gang.
He's sensitive. You don't want to leave him out. Well, I don't know what it is with him today, but boy, he's sensitive.
Yeah, you better bring my name up every once in a while. I'm part of this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He got recognized recently at an award ceremony for being on the show, and
Great.
his
Yeah.
head's a little big. I'm surprised he was even able to walk up the stairs to get into the studio today.
Sad part, I was in
That's
the
how it is.
restroom at the time and didn't hear it. Jack had to tell me.
Fighting lions with loo rolls. Remember that? Yeah. This is a pretty cool little story, an African experience. I've only kind of perused through this and caught little bits and pieces, and so I do want to talk about ants in just a little bit.
All right.
Ants?
Ants, yeah.
Yeah. Siafu.
A titillating story about ants.
Well,
This one is.
Oh, yeah.
pretty
these are-
heavy-duty stuff,
These are
man.
African
Oh, yeah.
ants, right?
Yeah.
These are big ants. Yeah.
Worse than fire ants.
Really?
They will devour you. And they're like the piranhas of the land.
I guess she took the lead and ran with it.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about the ants then.
Yeah. One of my stories. Go,
Well,
Jack.
let's back this up a little bit and find out a little bit more about Kathleen before we get into.
I'm excited now about the ants. You've got me, got my
You just
curiosity
left
up
us
here.
hanging here.
Now go ahead. You go ahead. Don't let me bother you.
You have an interesting story. You spent time over in Africa and kind of worked with the UN, but
Oh, but there was so much more than that.
yes, I bet
You
there
know,
was.
In 1979, my British husband and I took our 2 young children to live in Kenya, East Africa. We went there to teach on Peace Corps-like terms. We
Okay.
wanted to do good in this world. The book is full of true stories of how our adventurous family survived in a world that was totally foreign to us, and in a world that was completely alive with untamed nature at its most riotous. Lions, leopards, baboons, poisonous snakes, spiders the size of dinner plates. You name it, it
And
was
ants.
there.
Ants.
And ants.
Oh, yeah, I don't even mention the ants. And so, you know, it was also a major time of political struggle as well. But, you know, remember that we came from, well, my husband, Britain, but I came from upstate New York. I had no experience of Africa. Neither one of us did, really. So it was a major shift. And it's hard to prevent or know about dangers that you've never encountered before. So every day was a story of survival. People say that these stories are heart-stopping adventures. And so that's the basis of the book.
Well, you know, the tribes scare me. Those tribes, I mean, don't they get a little out of hand sometimes? And
Definitely, people were also a fear. Some people, of
Right.
course, just like every place you live, you know, there's the good and the bad.
Right.
But there was a lawless element, and because there was no law, they could take advantage of it. And we lived in remote settings too, so it made it fairly easy.
yeah, I mean, that's something, you know, that could you could lose your head over.
You
Yeah,
bet.
no kidding. I
And
mean,
a
you
lot
know,
of our
In
friends.
politics and all over there. Yeah, really.
And poverty. That was the main reason that you could lose your head over it. A lot of our friends and neighbors were murdered. Definitely, these stories are not your typical American or European stories. They
Sure.
could only happen in Africa.
Well, you said the good and the bad, and
Mm-hmm.
then as you're saying that, I'm reading that here. I enjoy the way Kathy related the details of their experiences: the good, the bad, the beauty. I like that. Not
Said
the.
the
I was
good, bad,
thinking,
and the ugly.
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
I like
right.
that.
And the danger. I'm glad all of you survived in one piece. The idea of living off the grid in Africa in circumstances so remarkably different is an incredible thing to do, and is not for most of us. I'd be nervous to go there even for a short visit. I think I probably would too.
Well, these days, people go on these luxury safaris, and they're very well taken care of. You know, our story is nothing like your typical luxury safari. In fact, there were no luxuries whatsoever. We didn't have running water. We didn't have a telephone. We didn't have any modern conveniences. There were no, there were a few tiny little mom and pop stores scattered very far and few between. And so there were certainly no corner restaurants. So it was a very different experience.
Well, in the cities, you spent a little bit of time there because you were in a band, and in the book, the last time you hear where you talked about your band Cactus,
Yes.
and so I see everyone holding an instrument,
Yes.
but there's like a guy standing beside you with a gun.
Well,
that looked
That
like
was his
that-
instrument.
we were playing on the American country western theme.
Exactly. I liked it.
Great.
It
yeah,
caught
it
my
was
eye. I was like
fun.
going, okay, there's a banjo, and
What's that?
what? I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you play an AK-47? That's really neat, man.
Lord. It was,
It looked like a 12 gauge to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
there was a niche in the market for an American country western band, and it's what we knew and loved. So we filled that niche.
Well, now, so they liked country music over there then? Country western music? Is that what they...
There were a lot of expatriates too.
Right.
And yes, people definitely did like it. Yeah, we were very, very popular. We filled
So
the
universal,
place.
yeah, it's universal, so...
Yeah,
But,
it
you know,
is.
Africa, you think in Africa you're only going to hear drums and, stuff like that.
There are
The
lots
beating of
different.
bamboo, I mean, you just don't think much about, country music.
There are lots of different types of music. The Africans had many different types of their own, including Lingala, which I mentioned before.
Right.
Awesome harmonies and very upbeat, that kind of thing. But we also sort of represented the Brits in a way, playing some of British music, but that was more pop music. So
Did they ever request Wah Wah Tusi?
no, they
That
never
was
Of all the
did.
songs
Yeah,
that
Wah
you never-
Wah Wah Tusi.
I remember that.
They
Yeah.
remember that?
requested, what was that old Western one? Oh, shoot. Anyway, it's gone.
Was it Glenn Campbell, Dean Martin?
No,
Oh.
no.
Country star.
Like round 'em up, head 'em out.
Oh, Rawhide.
Yeah, rawhide. Yeah, rawhide.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
That's right. There you go. Yeah.
Dog is easily amused.
We would sometimes do that before a break.
I love this one. One of the things that makes Kathy's recollections especially colorful is her. She added an element that is not commonly found in these stories. I'll call this the Lady Di touch. She didn't just live what's that word?
Oh, an aesthetic.
Thank you.
Like a monk, a hermit.
Oh, okay. In the woods. She dressed up. She became a headline singer, and she made her mark in the city of, what is that word right there?
Nairobi.
Yeah, Nairobi.
Yeah.
There's so many vivid scenes in the book. Kathy is such a good visual writer. She gives the reader graphic images to remember, whether it's about snakes or crocodiles or aluminum bangles that leave black marks. What is that about?
I was on a bus, a native bus, and the women had these beautiful bangles up their arms, but and we did an exchange. They wanted some things I owned, I wanted those, and even though we couldn't speak each other's language, we managed to work it out. And I later found out that the bangles were not silver, they were made from aluminum, and they would leave your arm all black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you get out of here, what was the name of the ants? Siafu?
Siafu, yes.
These were some vicious ants.
Yeah,
They make me
very.
itch thinking about it. I mean, these ants would,
no.
well, they'd eat you alive.
Yeah, it was a lot more than itching. I mean, you'd be covered in blood in seconds. They could eat a whole cow in an hour. I mean, they just were like piranhas.
Yeah, they just majorly swarm.
Yes.
I can only imagine that they got into
horrendous.
your house or your tent, and if you had a little baby there, I mean, good night.
It was a danger.
Wow.
Absolutely.
It makes me want to run out to my travel agent and book a trip to Africa just to see the ants.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be great. From a
Unbelievable.
great distance with binoculars. I mean,
Fighting lions
that's
with
scary.
loo rolls. That's crazy.
It's a neat
An
book,
African
yeah.
experience. It's available at Amazon.
At Amazon, at barnesandnoble.com, and through my own email address, krigby, kr7@gmail.com, and I'll sign it for you.
All righty. Fighting lions with loo rolls. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, no kidding.
So good to see
The
you
time
all.
flies by so quickly.
It does when you're having fun.
And I learned a couple of new words on the show today, which was always a plus.
Yo, well, what's this? What's this say? You learn every day, Jack.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from a dummy. I'm the dummy. We'll be back. Check this out right now on River Talk.